Hi there BMW owners. Today in your 2017 BMW X3, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install CURT's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver. And this is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. The cross tube is going to be completely hidden behind the fascia, as it does install behind the fascia and the bumper beam there. The only thing you'll be able to see here is the receiver tube at the back, and since it is tucked up fairly nice, you will be able to see it from an angle at the side, but it doesn't detract from the looks of the vehicle too much. It's a Class 3 2-inch by 2-inch receiver, so it's going to be great for all of your towing needs, whether you're wanting to just throw a bike rack in it to haul some bikes, or if you've got a small trailer and you want to get a little bit of work done, or maybe bring some jet skis with you for the weekend. It uses a 5/8 inch hitch pitting clip. Now, one doesn't come included with the hitch, but we've got plenty available here at eTrailer. You can get locking ones as well to protect your investments. On bottom, we have hoop-style safety chain loops with a very wide opening that should accommodate just about every shape, size, and style of safety chain. And this hitch offers a 350-pound tongue weight, and that's the force going down on top of our receiver. And that should be more than enough for a 4-bike platform rack loaded up with 4 bikes. You can also use a cargo carrier, however you're not going to be able to max out those cargo carriers. It also features a 3,500-pound gross towing capacity, which is how much that it can pull behind it. So if you do have some jet skis or maybe a little small boat that you want to bring, a little John boat, you should be able to do so with this hitch. It is also rated for use with the weight distribution system. So if you do have a small pop-up camper or something else that you want to bring with you that's kind of pushing the upper limits of what your X3 is capable of here, you can get that weight distribution system to help even out the load and bring your vehicle back upright, as that will increase the handling and braking performance that you lose when towing. And it also increases the carrying capacity of your hitch when using a weight distribution system. It's going to bring our tongue weight up to 400 pounds and our gross towing capacity to 4,000 pounds. We've got a lot of different weight distribution systems available here at eTrailer, so you can look at the various different options to choose the best one for your particular trailer and vehicle combination. And now I've got some measurements for you to help you when deciding on accessories. From the center of our hitch pin hole to the edge of our rear bumper, it measures about 3 inches. And that's important when determining if any of your accessories will contact the bumper and if they can be placed in their upright storage position without contacting the bumper. And from the ground to the top inside edge of our receiver tube, it measures about 13 inches. And this is important when determining if you need a drop, a rise, or a raised shank on any of your accessories. And since this one is so low, I would recommend a raised shank. And now that we've gone over some of the features of our hitch, why don't you follow along with me so you can have the confidence to get it installed at home. We'll begin our installation underneath the vehicle by removing the undershield located right here. There are several fasteners that we're going to need to remove all the way around. And we'll do that using our 8mm socket. And then if we go underneath our panel towards the front of the vehicle, we'll see that there's some studs here along this side that we'll need to remove the nuts from, and we'll use a 10mm socket for these. Once you've got all those removed, we can pull our panel down. You have to pull it off the studs first, then you can slide it towards the front and get it out of there. And then on each side, behind the tire on the bottom, you'll have 2 more that we're going to remove with our 8mm socket. And then if we wrap around to just behind the tire on the fender liner going up around it, there's going to be another one there. We'll take that out as well. Now we need to remove the trim piece that's located right here. And we need to have it removed enough to where we can get this part off, because we're taking the fascia off here. So you'll need to pull off enough of these to see where you can get this pulled back out of the way, because there's some fasteners behind it we'll need to access. You will get new rivets included with your kit. We don't need to take all of them out, just enough to where we can pull this back. So I'm going to remove them till about to this point, and then I may need to remove one more, just depending on if it feels like it's going to need it. Now you can just push in on the center of these tabs to remove them, but if you've had this vehicle for any amount of time and it's got dirt and debris and stuff, it gets really hard to push those in there. Because they weren't really designed to just come apart like that. They're rivets. So we're going to use a drill and a small 1/8 inch bit to just drill out the center of it. And then once we've got the center drilled out, we can pry it out of there. We'll repeat this for the remaining rivets until we've got them removed, where we can get this pulled out. Now we've got those rivets removed, we can pull outward on our panel here a little bit. And then if you've got a trim panel tool, you'll want to guide that up there to help you pop these clips out of there. And as you're pulling out on this, you're going to have to pull out on the fender liner here, and there's tabs on the inside that you're going to need to release. And here's one of the tabs. So just kind of work your way up, releasing it as you go. And then once you get past this point here, it's just going to be regular clips, and those are just going to pull outward. But this is our main thing here. We were trying to get access to this bolt here and this one here. And I did go ahead and take out one more rivet here just to give us a little bit more room to pull this out, because what I like to do after pulling that out, I like to take a rag or cloth, something that's soft that you can fold up, and we can kind of tuck this up in here, and that can help keep it pulled out away from the vehicle, so that way it just stays away as we're removing components, keeps them from bumping on each other. And we'll just remove these two fasteners with an 8mm socket, and then we'll repeat this same procedure over on the other side to get the trim removed and the fasteners removed behind it. We're now on the back side of the bumper, and we're going to remove the reflectors from each side. Just kind of push in and then towards the rear, and that'll pop the clip off there, and then you'll pull it towards you to release the other clip. That'll expose a fastener beneath it. We're going to remove that with an 8mm socket. And we'll get the one on the other side also. We'll then remove the plastic cover located on your headlights. You'll reach in the gap there, and it'll pull it out and release the clips there. And then we'll remove the fasteners inside. Those are going to be a 10mm socket. And then we'll just pull towards the rear to release the taillight assembly. And then on the back side, there is an electrical connector we'll need to disconnect. It's pretty short, but just press in on the release tab and then slide it out of there. We'll do the same thing to remove the one on the other side. Underneath our taillight assemblies on each side, you're going to have a bolt we'll remove with an 8mm socket. We're now ready to remove our fascia. We'll start on one side. We're going to come up here and we're going to grab the fascia here. We're just going to pull it outward and just work our fingers along the top here, popping it out as we go along. And we're just going to continue doing this until we get all the way towards our taillight here at the back. Get these tabs popped out here. And this is a good point to stop right here. Maybe get this one little tab there. We can see that little black tabs catching on there. Sometimes the tabs are going to catch and you might need to have a small screwdriver with you to pry those down so you can get those off of there. There we go. And this is where I like to stop then and go release the other side to this same point. If you've got an extra set of hands, then you can just go ahead and continue and they can continue on. You can do it together. But if you're doing this by yourself at home, this is where you want to get this other side released so that way you can have more control over it. So now that we've got each one released to this point, we're going to come here to the center, grab it at the bottom, and we're just going to kind of rock it, pulling rearward on each side. And once you got it released, we'll then slide it back, work it off, check for any electrical connectors that you might have. And right here in the middle is the only one that I'm seeing. So we're just going to kind of roll it down. That way we can support it kind of on our leg. And here we can disconnect our connector. These ones here have a release tab on each side. So you're going to have to squeeze both. And we'll set it aside where it won't get damaged. We'll then need to remove the plastic coverings here at the back for your electrical wiring and where the fascia snapped in. There's an electrical connector here. We're going to disconnect this one because these are actually two separate pieces. There's a left and a right one, so we don't want the left and the right connected together. There's going to be 4 fasteners on each side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll use a 10mm socket to remove those. And now that we've got all of our fasteners removed, we can slide this off the studs and set it aside. For your other side, if you've got electrical wiring on it, it's okay to just kind of set it down on the ground off to the side because it's better than chasing all these wires down and disconnecting a bunch of connectors. On the back side of your bumper beam, you're going to have a fastener that's holding the wiring for the piece we just removed on. So we're just going to pop that off of there. And then we should be able to kind of just set this in the back of the vehicle. We'll now remove our bumper beam using an 18mm socket. There's 2 nuts on each side. After I remove the top nut, I like to thread it on just a thread like that. That way the bumper beam can't fall off while we're removing the fasteners. We'll then just kind of pop the beam off of there. There's some sealant on it, so you might have to give it a little bit of a pop just because of the pads that are located there. And then we're just going to grab our hitch and we're going to put it in place right where our bumper beam used to be. So now we're going to take our hitch, we're going to set it in place, sliding it over the studs. We'll then grab our bumper beam and we're just going to put it right back where we got it from. Just make sure to keep everything supported there. We don't want it to slide off. And then we're just going to reattach the factory hardware. Then we can go back and tighten our hardware and torque it to the specifications found in our instructions. And now we'll just reinstall our components in reverse order of how we removed them. You will get new rivets in your kit, so you will want to have a plastic rivet gun when putting those fasteners back in on your fender liner. When reinstalling your panels, you might notice that the plastic trim piece here does hit on the hitch. It's going to do that on the other side as well. So just hold it up here and just kind of get an idea of where it is, and then you can just trim it out of there. You can use a pair of snips, that's what I'm going to use, or you could use a cutoff wheel, just kind of whatever you have available to you. And I'm just going to trim and recheck, just kind of rinse and repeat there until you've got a good fit. We'll now use the rivets that come included with our kit to reinstall in the location where we had drilled out the factory ones. You'll push it in your plastic rivet gun, slide it in place, and then just give the gun a squeeze. Sometimes you got to do this a couple of times until it does collapse it and break the end off, and then just repeat that for any remaining ones that you have. Before you install your undershield, you will need to trim out around it so that way it'll fit around your hitch. There's a diagram in your instructions and I've gone ahead and marked it out here. I'm just going to use some snips to cut mine out. You could also use a cutoff wheel. Just depends on what you have available. It's pretty easy to cut through with the snips, so that's why I like to do it on these types of panels. Then once you've got it trimmed out, just test the fit, make sure that it goes around. The panel does sit on top of your fascia, so you make sure you got it lined up right, and then you also got to get your studs lined up here in the back as well. And that completes our installation of CURT's Class 3 2-inch trailer hitch receiver on our 2017 BMW X3.